The line moved slowly. Hana Kim stood with her hands behind her back, watching each cadet step forward to the scanner. The ancient metal door towered above them, covered in symbols no one could read. The Galactic Naval Academy had been built inside an alien structure, one that existed long before humans ever left Earth. Minho Park stood in front of her. He was tall and always made jokes to hide his nerves. "Just a scanner," he whispered back to Hana. "Nothing to worry about." Jawan Lee stood behind Hana. She was quiet and smart, always reading reports about alien technology. "The architects built this place 3 million years ago," Jiwon said softly. "No one knows why they disappeared." Hana nodded. Everyone knew about the architects. They had left buildings and machines all across the galaxy. When humans started exploring space 50 years ago, they found these structures on empty planets. The aliens called the Valorians had found them first, hundreds of years before humans. The Valorians used architect technology to build their empire. They controlled most of the galaxy. The scanner beeped. A cadet near the front placed his hand on the glowing panel. Green light washed over him. A voice spoke in a language that sounded like music and metal grinding together. Then it spoke in human language. "Access level, standard trainee, proceed." The massive door split open just enough for the cadet to walk through. It closed behind him with a deep boom. One by one, cadets approached the scanner. Each time, the same thing happened. Green light. Standard access. The door opened and closed. Hana counted 40 cadets ahead of her. The instructors stood watching, humans in dark blue uniforms next to tall Valorian officers. The Valorians had silver skin and 3 eyes. They always looked like they were judging everything. "Next," called Instructor Hayes. She was a hard woman with gray hair and scars on her face from the border wars. Minho stepped forward. He placed his hand on the scanner and grinned back at Hana. The green light appeared. "Access level, standard trainee, proceed." The door opened. Minho walked through, giving Hana a quick thumbs up before the door sealed shut. "Next." Hana's heart beat faster. She stepped up to the scanner. The panel was warm under her hand, warmer than it should be. She had watched 41 people touch it, and none of them had mentioned warmth. The green light appeared. Then it flickered. Blue light mixed with the green. Then purple. Then colors Hana had no names for. The scanner made a sound like a question rising higher and higher in pitch. "What's happening?" Instructor Hayes moved forward. The Valorian officers stood straighter, their 3 eyes fixed on Hana. The colors stopped. Everything went white so bright Hana had to close her eyes. When she opened them, symbols covered the air around her. They floated like golden smoke, twisting and changing. She couldn't read them, but somehow she understood them. They were asking her questions. "Who are you? What do you carry? Why are you here?" "I don't understand," Hana said. The symbols changed. They formed words in human language hanging in the air for everyone to see. Scanning complete. Genetic markers identified. Authorization confirmed. Then, in letters twice as large as before, "Access level, creator," and the room went silent. 50 cadets still waiting in line stared at Hana. The instructors looked at each other with confusion and fear on their faces. The Valorian officers began speaking rapidly in their own language, their voices sharp and angry. The ancient door didn't just open, it dissolved, folding into the walls like water flowing backward. Beyond it, lights activated in a massive chamber. Hana saw equipment and machines that looked nothing like the training rooms the cadets used. Everything gleamed with the same golden light as the symbols. A voice spoke directly into Hana's mind. It didn't use her ears. It appeared in her thoughts, clear and strong. "Welcome, inheritor. You have been expected." Hana stumbled backward. "Who said that?" "The facility intelligence," the voice replied. "I have waited 3 million years for one who carries the architect's gift." "You are the first." Instructor Hayes grabbed Hana's arm. "Cadet Kim, step away from the door." "I can't," Hana said. "It's talking to me. Inside my head." The Valorian officers moved fast. They surrounded Hana, their weapons not drawn but their hands ready. The lead officer spoke in perfect human language. "This human must be contained immediately. No species has ever registered above standard access." "This is impossible." "It's not impossible," the voice in Hana's mind said. "It is the plan." The architects placed their essence in many species across the galaxy. Humanity carries the final and most complete version. This one, Hana Kim, has the highest concentration. She is the key. "Stop talking in my head." Hana pressed her hands to her temples. The symbols in the air changed again. Now everyone could see new words. Emergency protocol activated. Inheritor protection mode engaged. The walls hummed. Panels slid open around the chamber, revealing weapons that had been hidden for millions of years. They didn't point at anyone yet, but the threat was clear. The facility was protecting Hana. Everyone stay calm, Instructor Hayes ordered. But her voice shook. The lead Valorian officer spoke into a communication device. Command, we have a situation. A human has registered as creator level. I repeat, creator level. We need the fleet here immediately. G1 pushed through the crowd of cadets. She reached Hana's side and took her hand. What's happening to you? I don't know, Hana whispered. It says I'm an inheritor. It says the architects made humans special. That's not possible, G1 said. The Valorians found the architect sites first. They're the ones who learned to use their technology. The voice spoke again, and this time everyone in the room heard it. It came from the walls, the floor, the air itself. The Valorians found the sites first, but they were not chosen. They took what they did not earn. Humanity has been prepared for this moment since your species first looked up at the stars. Hana Kim is the proof. She carries the architect legacy in her very cells. Minho's voice came through a speaker near the dissolved door. Hana, what's going on out there? The door won't let me back through, the facility responded. All creator-designated personnel are now separated for their protection. Standard access individuals cannot approach the inheritor until security protocols are satisfied. Instructor Hayes stepped forward carefully. Facility Intelligence, I am the commanding officer of this academy. Explain what is happening. Explanation is simple, the voice said. The test is complete. Humanity has passed. The Valorians failed long ago. The inheritance now transfers to its rightful recipients, and it begins with her. Every eye in the room fixed on Hana. She stood in the white light, surrounded by floating symbols and hidden weapons, feeling more alone than she ever had in her life. Whatever had just happened, nothing would ever be the same. They kept Hana in a white room for 3 days. Medical scanners ran constantly, measuring everything about her. Doctors took blood samples, tissue samples, and brain scans. They found nothing unusual. Hana was completely normal by every test they could perform, except the architect facility still called her creator. Instructor Hayes visited on the morning of the 4th day. She sat across from Hana at a small metal table. The Valorian fleet arrives tomorrow, she said quietly. They're demanding we turn you over to them. Why? Hana asked. She hadn't slept well. The voice from the facility kept speaking in her dreams, trying to tell her things she couldn't quite understand. Because you're dangerous to them, Hayes said. The Valorians built their entire civilization on architect technology. For 500 years, they've controlled it. They've kept other species from learning too much, and now a human appears who the technology recognizes as its creator. That terrifies them. I'm not a creator, Hana said. I'm just a cadet. I grew up on Earth. My parents run a restaurant in Busan. There's nothing special about me. Hayes looked at her with something like pity. The architect facility disagrees, and so does Earth's government. They're sending their own representatives. Everyone wants to know what you are. After Hayes left, the door opened again. Hana expected more doctors. Instead, Minho and Ji-won slipped inside. They wore maintenance uniforms instead of cadet grays. We bribed a guard, Minho said with his usual grin. You look terrible. Thanks, Hana said, but she smiled. You shouldn't be here. You could get expelled. They can't expel us, Ji-won said. She pulled out a small data pad. We've been researching. Hana, the facility has been trying to contact you. It's been sending signals to this room, but the walls are shielded. It wants to talk to you. It talks in my head, Hana said. I don't like it. You have to go back, Ji-won insisted. The Valorians are trying to shut the facility down. They're claiming it's malfunctioning. But if you go back and interface with it properly, you can learn the truth. You can find out what the architects really wanted. Minho nodded. Plus, we found something in the old records. Other people have registered as creator before. Not many, maybe one every few thousand years from different species. But they all disappeared. The Valorians made them disappear. Fear crept into Hana's chest. So I'm next? Not if we move first, Minho said. Come on. They smuggled Hana out through maintenance tunnels. The academy was built into the architect structure like a shell around something much larger. Most of the ancient building remained unexplored. sealed behind doors that wouldn't open for anyone. But as Hana walked through the tunnels, doors opened. They responded to her presence, sliding away silently. "This is incredible," Jiwon whispered. She recorded everything on her datapad. They reached a chamber deep below the training levels. It was round and vast, with a pool of silver liquid in the center. Symbols covered the walls, glowing softly. The moment Hana entered, they brightened. The voice returned to her mind, but gentler this time. "You came back, good. We have much to discuss, Inheritor." "Stop calling me that," Hana said out loud. "Explain what's happening in words my friends can hear too." The voice shifted, coming from the walls instead. "Very well. I am the facility intelligence created by the architects to guard their legacy. The architects were an ancient species who achieved biological and technological perfection. But they discovered a truth that changed everything." The silver pool rippled. Images formed in the air above it, showing alien beings that looked almost human but not quite. They had too many joints in their fingers, eyes that glowed with inner light. They moved through cities of crystal and light. The architects learned that they were not the first advanced species in the galaxy. The voice continued. They found ruins of civilizations even older than themselves. All of them had died the same way. Something came from beyond the galaxy, something that consumed everything. The architects called it the silence. The images changed. Darkness spread across star systems. Planets went cold. Suns flickered and died. The architects knew they couldn't defeat the silence, the voice said. They were too few and it was too vast. So they made a different choice. They changed themselves. They broke their genetic code into pieces and spread it across the galaxy, hiding it in primitive species. Hundreds of species received these gifts. Each one carried a small part of what the architects had been. Minho stared at the images. They turned themselves into other species? Into the potential for other species to become what they had been, the voice corrected. It was a test and a gift. Over millions of years, these species would evolve. Most would never activate their architect genes. But some might. And if they did, if they proved worthy, they would inherit everything the architects had created. All their knowledge, all their technology, all their power. Jiwon's hands shook as she recorded. And humans have these genes? All the seeded species have them, the voice said. The Valorians have them. But their genes are damaged. They activated them too early before their species was ready. They gained some architect knowledge, but not the wisdom to use it properly. They became conquerors instead of inheritors. The facility recognizes this. It gave them standard access only. The images showed Valorian history, wars, subjugation of other species, control through technology they didn't fully understand. Humanity is different, the voice said. The images changed to show Earth, cities, art, music, spaceships leaving the solar system. You developed slowly. You made mistakes but learned from them. You fought wars but also made peace. When you found architect sites, you didn't try to control them. You studied them with curiosity and caution. This is why Hana's genes activated. Humanity is ready. Hana felt overwhelmed. Ready for what? To face the silence, the voice said. It is returning. Our sensors detected it 5 years ago, moving through the outer reaches of the galaxy. It will arrive at inhabited space within 20 years. The architects built these facilities as weapons, as shields, as lifeboats, but they can only be activated by someone the system recognizes as worthy, someone like you. The silver pool rippled again. This time it showed vast machines, bigger than planets, moving through the darkness between stars. They tore apart suns and harvested the materials. Behind them, the galaxy went dark. This is what destroyed the architects, the voice said. This is what will destroy everyone unless the inheritance is claimed. You, Hana Kim, are the key to humanity's survival. You are the key to the galaxy's survival. Minho sat down hard on the floor. This is too much. This is too big. Jiwon kept recording, but tears ran down her face. What do we do? Hana stared at the images of the silence, at the darkness consuming everything. She thought about her parents' restaurant, about Earth, about all the species in the galaxy who didn't know what was coming. We tell everyone, Hana said. We can't keep this secret. The Valorians might want to hide it, but people deserve to know the truth. They deserve a chance to prepare. The Valorians will not allow it, the voice warned. They will try to take you. They will try to control this facility. They see you as a threat to their power. Then we move faster than they can, Hana said. She looked at her friends. Can you get this information out? Can you broadcast it before the fleet arrives? Ji-won nodded slowly. I can try. But Hana, once this is public, everything changes. There's no going back. Everything already changed, Hana said, the moment that scanner called me creator. We just have to decide if we face it honestly or let the Valorians bury the truth. Minho stood up. His grin was gone, replaced by determination. Then let's make some noise. The galaxy should know that humans are the inheritors, and the galaxy should know what's coming. The voice in the facility hummed with something like approval. You choose wisely, Hana Kim. The architects would be proud. Now let me show you what you have inherited. There is much to learn and very little time. The Valorian fleet appeared in orbit at dawn. 50 warships surrounded the academy. Their weapons pointed at the ancient structure below. Admiral Kresh commanded from the flagship. He was old for a Valorian, his silver skin marked with ceremonial scars that showed his rank. On the surface, alarms wailed through the academy halls. Cadets ran to evacuation shuttles while instructors prepared defenses that everyone knew were useless. The Valorian fleet could level the entire facility in minutes. Hana stood in the central chamber with the silver pool. Minho and Ji-won had broadcast everything the night before. The facility's records, the images of the silence, the truth about the architect's legacy. Every news network in human space had picked up the story. By now, it was spreading across the entire galaxy. The Valorians were furious. They're demanding we turn you over, Instructor Hayes said through the communication system. The Earth government is considering it. Hana, they're scared. The Valorians are threatening war if we don't comply. Hana closed her eyes. She'd spent the entire night learning from the facility intelligence. It had shown her how to interface with the architect systems, how to read the ancient symbols, how to activate weapons and shields that had been dormant for millions of years. She'd learned more in one night than most scientists learned in a lifetime. But she still felt like just a cadet from Busan. What do you want to do? Ji-won asked quietly. She and Minho had refused to evacuate. They stood beside Hana, ready for whatever came next. Before Hana could answer, the facility spoke. The Valorians are sending a boarding party. They will breach the main entrance in 4 minutes. Can you stop them? Hana asked. Yes, but you must authorize defensive measures. As creator-level authority, only you can activate this facility's true capabilities. Hana's hands shook. If I do that, people might die. If you don't, the facility said, the Valorians will take you. They will study you. They will try to extract what makes you special, and they will ensure no other human ever activates their architect genes. Humanity's chance to inherit will die with you. Minho touched her shoulder. Hana, we didn't come this far to give up now. The whole galaxy knows the truth because of what you did. That matters. Don't let them silence it. Hana thought about the images of the silence, about the darkness coming to consume everything. She thought about the architects, who had sacrificed their entire species to give others a chance. She thought about her parents, about Earth, about all the people who deserved a future. Activate defenses, she said, but don't kill anyone unless there's no other choice. Acknowledged, the facility responded. The ancient building came alive. Walls shifted and rearranged. Doors sealed. Energy barriers appeared around the facility, glowing with soft blue light. In orbit, sensors aboard the Valorian flagship suddenly detected massive power readings from the structure below. Admiral Kresh watched his displays with growing alarm. What is that human doing? His tactical officer's 3 eyes were wide. Admiral, the facility is activating systems we've never seen before. Power levels are exceeding anything in our database. It's creating a shield strong enough to withstand our entire fleet's firepower. Kresh slammed his fist on his command chair. Impossible. We've studied architect sites for 500 years. We know everything about them. Apparently not, sir, the officer said quietly. The boarding party that had been approaching the facility suddenly found themselves repelled by invisible force fields. Their weapons wouldn't fire. Their ship's systems shut down, forcing emergency landings far from the academy. Inside the central chamber, Hana felt the facility's systems responding to her thoughts. It was like controlling her own body, natural and easy. She could sense every weapon, every shield, every sealed door. The building had become an extension of herself. They're trying to force their way in, the facility reported, attempting to override the locks. Show me, Hana said. Images appeared in the air, showing Valorian soldiers trying to cut through doors with plasma torches. The doors healed themselves faster than the Valorians could damage them. Other soldiers fired weapons at the walls, but the ancient material absorbed the energy without even scorching. Then Admiral Kresh's face appeared, projected into the chamber. His 3 eyes burned with anger. Human, you are interfering with galactic law. The Valorian Consortium has rights to all architect technology. You are in violation of treaties signed by Earth's own government. Hana stepped forward so the Admiral could see her clearly. Those treaties were based on lies. You told everyone that you were the rightful inheritors of architect technology. But you weren't chosen. You just took what you found. Now everyone knows the truth. Kresh's silver skin darkened with rage. You are a child playing with forces you don't understand. That facility is the property of the Consortium. Surrender yourself and we will be merciful. The facility disagrees, Hana said. She gestured, and the intelligence played a recording. It showed Valorian history that had never been made public. Wars against species who discovered architect sites. Assassinations of individuals who registered higher than standard access. Cover-ups and lies spanning centuries. You've been hiding the truth, Hana said. You've been preventing other species from claiming their inheritance because you were afraid of losing power. How many people like me did you make disappear? Admiral Kresh's expression went cold. 17. Across 5 different species. All of them were too dangerous to allow to live. Just like you. The admission sent chills through Hana. 17 people murdered to protect Valorian control. Minho stepped up beside her. The whole galaxy just heard you say that, Admiral. We're broadcasting this conversation everywhere. Kresh's 3 eyes widened as he realized his mistake. Then his expression hardened. It doesn't matter. You cannot hide in that facility forever. And Earth cannot stand against our fleet. Surrender or we will bombard the planet itself. You won't, Hana said with more confidence than she felt. Because I can activate every architect site in the galaxy. Right now. From here, it was a bluff. She'd learned a lot in one night, but not that much. But the facility intelligence supported her, showing technical displays that suggested she was telling the truth. Kresh leaned forward. You're lying, am I? Hana asked. The architects connected all their sites together. They're part of a network. Every facility, every station, every weapon platform they built across millions of years. And I have access to all of it. If you attack Earth, I'll activate everything. I'll open every door, unseal every chamber, and share all the architect knowledge with every species in the galaxy. Free. No Valorian control. What do you think happens to your consortium, then? The Admiral stared at her in silence. Around him, his officers looked nervous. The Valorians had built their entire civilization on controlled access to architect technology. If everyone had equal access, their advantage disappeared. Finally, Kresh spoke. You would doom the galaxy. Most species aren't ready for that power. Maybe not, Hana said, but they deserve the choice. The architects spread their gifts to hundreds of species. They wanted them to inherit, not to be controlled by you. I'm just finishing what they started. More images appeared showing ships arriving in orbit. Not Valorian ships. Human vessels. Ships from the Terran Alliance, from the independent colonies, from Earth's defense fleet. They were small compared to the Valorian warships, but there were many of them. Instructor Hayes' voice came through on a general channel. Admiral Kresh, this is Commander Hayes of the Galactic Naval Academy. I'm informing you that Earth has declared this facility to be sovereign human territory. You are in violation of our space. Withdraw your fleet. You cannot be serious, Kresh said. We have 50 warships. You have a handful of patrol boats. We also have an architect facility that just demonstrated it can shield itself from anything you throw at it, Hayes said. And we have the truth on our side. The whole galaxy is watching. What do you think happens if you attack us now? You'll prove everything Hana said about the Valorians. You'll lose whatever legitimacy you have left. Hana watched the Admiral's face as he calculated his options. She could see him weighing force against politics, power against perception. This isn't over, Kresh finally said. The Consortium will not forget this insult. Good, Hana said, because we're not going to forget the 17 people you murdered, or the centuries you spent lying to everyone. The galaxy is changing, Admiral, and the Valorians don't get to control it anymore. The transmission cut off. In orbit, the Valorian fleet began to withdraw, slowly and with obvious reluctance. They left behind sensor platforms and scout ships, watching and waiting. Minho let out a long breath. That was terrifying. It's not over, G1 said. She was still recording everything. They'll come back. They'll find another way. I know, Hana said. She looked at the silver pool, at the symbols glowing on the walls. But now we have time. Time to learn, time to prepare, time to figure out how to face what's coming. The facility intelligence spoke softly. You did well, Inheritor. The first test is passed, but there will be others. The Valorians are not the greatest threat. The silence approaches, and you must be ready when it arrives. Earth's government arrived 2 weeks later. They came with diplomats, scientists, military advisors, and politicians who all wanted to talk to Hana. They wanted to understand what she'd found. They wanted to control it. The meeting room was crowded. President Martinez sat at the head of the table, a tired woman who'd spent 30 years in politics. She looked at Hana with a mix of hope and fear. "Show us," Martinez said simply. Hana placed her hand on the table. The facility intelligence responded, projecting holographic displays that filled the room. Star charts appeared, showing architect sites scattered across the galaxy, thousands of them. Most had never been discovered. "This is what the architects left behind," Hana explained. She'd gotten better at interfacing with the facility, more confident. Weapons, ships, manufacturing centers, knowledge databases, energy sources, everything a civilization would need to survive and thrive. A scientist named Dr. Yoon leaned forward. She was old and respected, someone who'd spent her life studying architect technology. "And you can access all of this?" "The facility can," Hana said. "Through me." But there's a problem. The architects designed their systems with safeguards. They didn't want the technology to be misused. If I just gave everyone access to everything, it could be catastrophic. Species could destroy themselves with weapons they don't understand, or destroy each other. General Park, head of Earth's military, spoke up. "Then we keep it controlled. We use it to strengthen Earth's position in the galaxy. We make humanity the dominant power." "That's what the Valorians did," Minho said. He sat beside Hana, taking notes. "And look how that turned out. They used the technology to control others instead of helping them. They failed the test." "What test?" President Martinez asked. Hana brought up the images of the silence, the dark machines consuming stars, the vast emptiness they left behind. Everyone in the room went quiet as they watched. "The silence is coming," Hana said. "The facility's deep space sensors have been tracking it for 5 years. It's a force that destroyed the architects and every civilization before them. It will reach inhabited space in 20 years, maybe less. The architects left their legacy to prepare us for this, not to fight over power but to survive." Dr. Yoon stared at the images with horror. 20 years? That's not enough time. We need decades, centuries to prepare for something like that. "Which is why we can't waste time fighting among ourselves," Jiwon said. She'd compiled reports from the facility's database, translating ancient architect records into human language. The architects believed cooperation was the key. They spread their gifts to hundreds of species because they knew no single race could stand against the silence. Only together would they have a chance. General Park shook his head. "You're talking about sharing our biggest advantage with potential enemies. The Valorians, the Krath Confederation, species that would use architect technology against us. Or species that would fight beside us when the silence arrives," Hana said. "We have to choose. Do we hoard this knowledge and face extinction alone, or do we share it and face the threat together?" The room erupted in argument. Politicians debated security concerns. Scientists wanted controlled research programs. Military advisors worried about arms races. Everyone had opinions, but no one could agree on what to do. President Martinez raised her hand for silence. "Hana, what do you think we should do? You're the one the facility recognized. What would the architects want?" Hana had thought about this question every day since the scanner called her creator. She'd spent hours in the facility, learning from the intelligence, studying the architect's history. She'd seen what they'd sacrificed to give the galaxy a chance. "I think we should share everything," she said. "Not all at once. Not without guidance. But we should open the architect sites to any species willing to learn. We should teach them what the technology can do. We should help them activate their own architect genes if they have them, and we should tell them about the silence so they can prepare." "That's idealistic," General Park said, "and dangerous. What if they use it against us?" "Then we'll be no worse off than we are now," Hana said. "But if we keep it secret, if we try to control it like the Valorians did, we'll fail just like they did." The architects made that clear. Their technology responds to worthiness, to cooperation, to species that use it to help others instead of dominating them. Minho pulled up records on his datapad. We've been analyzing the architect sites the Valorians control. The technology works for them, but not at full capacity. It's limited because of how they use it. But when Hana interfaces with the facility here, everything responds perfectly. The difference is intent. The systems can sense why you're using them. Dr. Yoon looked thoughtful. Sentient technology. Amazing. So if we tried to use architect weapons to conquer others, the weapons themselves would resist? Exactly, Hana said. The architects built morality into their machines. They wanted to make sure their legacy couldn't be used to repeat the mistakes they'd seen in older civilizations. Species that destroy each other never survive long enough to face the real threats. President Martinez sat back in her chair. This is the biggest decision humanity has ever faced. Share everything and hope for cooperation, or keep control and hope we can survive alone. There's something else, Ji-won said quietly. She pulled up a new file. I found this in the facility's historical records. 17 individuals across different species registered as creator level before Hana. The Valorians killed all of them, but before they died, some of them managed to activate architect sites on their home worlds. Those sites are still there waiting. If Hana can reach out to them, if she can activate them remotely, we could bring dozens of new facilities online. We could give other species access without asking Valorian permission. The implications hung in the air. It wasn't just about Earth's choice anymore. It was about forcing the galaxy to change whether the Valorians liked it or not. That would be an act of war, General Park said. The Valorians would consider it a direct attack on their authority. They're already our enemies, Minho said. They admitted to murdering 17 people. They've been suppressing the truth for centuries. We're not making them our enemies. We're just stopping them from controlling everyone else. President Martinez looked at Hana. Can you do it? Can you activate other architect sites from here? Hana closed her eyes and reached out through the facility's network. She felt the connections, thin threads of ancient technology linking sites across light years. The architects had built their structures to communicate, to work together. She could sense the dormant facilities waiting to wake up. I can do it, she said. But once I start, there's no going back. The whole galaxy will change. Some species will embrace it. Others will fight against it. It will be chaos for a while. Better than extinction, Dr. Yoon said softly. Better than letting the Valorians keep everyone weak and divided while the silence approaches. President Martinez stood and walked to the window. Outside, the academy grounds bustled with activity. Cadets training, scientists studying, people living their lives unaware of how close they were to either salvation or destruction. Do it, Martinez finally said. Activate the sites. Share the knowledge. Tell the galaxy the truth. We'll deal with the consequences together. Hana felt the weight of the decision settle on her shoulders. She was 19 years old. 6 months ago, her biggest worry had been passing her flight certification exam. Now she was about to change the course of galactic history. I'll need help, she said. I can activate the sites, but we'll need people to go to them. Teachers, guides, people who can help other species learn to use the technology safely. And we'll need defenders because the Valorians will try to stop this. You'll have everything you need, Martinez promised. Earth stands with you. Humanity stands with you, Minho grinned. We didn't come this far to back down now. Ji-won squeezed Hana's hand. Whatever happens, we face it together. Hana nodded. She returned to the central chamber with the silver pool, to the heart of the architect facility. The intelligence waited for her, patient and ancient. I'm ready, Hana said. Let's wake them all up. She placed both hands in the silver liquid. It was warm and alive with energy. Through it, she felt every architect's site in the galaxy. She felt the dormant weapons, the sealed knowledge vaults, the waiting ships. All of it connected, all of it ready, and she activated it all. Across the galaxy, ancient structures came to life. Doors opened that had been sealed for millions of years. Lights turned on in facilities that dozens of species had studied but never truly accessed. The architect network restored itself, stronger than it had been since the architects themselves walked among the stars. The Valorians screamed in protest, but they were too late. Humanity had made its choice. Not control, not domination, but cooperation and hope. The inheritance was no longer hidden. Now it belonged to everyone who proved worthy of it, and together perhaps they could face the darkness that was coming. The galaxy burned with activity. Within days of Hana activating the Architect Network, 17 species discovered new facilities on their worlds. Within weeks, 43 more. Each site responded to individuals who carried Architect genes, granting them access to knowledge and technology beyond their current understanding. The Valorians raged. They sent fleets to blockade the new sites. They demanded the facilities be shut down. They threatened economic sanctions, military action, and worse. But they were too late. The truth was out. The architects had seeded dozens of species, not just one. And now all of them were waking up to their inheritance. Hana stood in a new command center built into the Academy facility. Holographic displays surrounded her, showing reports from across the galaxy. Some were good. The Talori people, a species of peaceful traders, had found an Architect medical station. They were already learning to heal diseases that had plagued them for generations. The Korath, fierce warriors, had discovered weapons platforms and were surprisingly thoughtful about how to use them defensively. Some reports were bad. The Valorians had bombed 2 facilities rather than let other species access them. 40 people died. Violence had broken out on 3 colony worlds where multiple species fought over newly discovered sites. But most reports were somewhere in between. Confusion, wonder, fear, hope. The galaxy was changing, and no one knew what would come next. Minho coordinated the human teaching teams being sent to other species. "We've got 50 volunteers ready to go," he reported. "Scientists, engineers, even some diplomats. They'll help other species learn to interface with their facilities safely. Make sure they emphasize cooperation," Hana said. "The architects designed this technology to work best when species work together. It's not just about power, it's about unity." Jiwan managed the information network. She'd become the unofficial voice of the Architect Legacy Project, broadcasting updates and guidance to anyone who would listen. "We're getting requests from species we've never even contacted before," she said. "Small civilizations from the Outer Rim. They want to know if they're part of the inheritance too. Send survey teams," Hana said. "If they have Architect genes, they deserve to know." Everyone does. Dr. Yoon had taken charge of research coordination. She'd assembled scientists from 12 different species who were willing to work together to understand Architect technology. "We're making progress," she reported during the daily briefing. "We've figured out how to safely activate basic systems. Energy generation, environmental controls, basic computing. We're still years away from understanding the weapons or the advanced propulsion systems." "That's okay," Hana said. "We have time." "Not a lot, but some," General Park interrupted. "Actually, we might have less time than we thought." He brought up new sensor data on the main display. "Deep space monitoring stations have detected anomalies at the galaxy's edge. Energy signatures matching the silence. It's moving faster than the Architect projection suggested." The room went silent. Everyone stared at the display showing dark masses moving through space, consuming everything in their path. "How much time?" President Martinez asked. She'd moved to the Academy permanently, recognizing that this was now the center of humanity's future. 15 years, General Park said. "Maybe less if it accelerates. It will reach the outer colonies first, then the major trade routes, then core worlds like Earth." Hana felt her stomach drop. 15 years to prepare the entire galaxy for an existential threat. It seemed impossible. But the facility intelligence spoke in her mind, calm and certain. "It is not impossible. The architects prepared for this. You have everything you need. You simply must use it wisely." "Show me the defense plans," Hana said out loud. The intelligence complied, projecting ancient battle strategies into the room. The architects had fought the silence before in the earliest days of its arrival. They'd lost, but they'd learned. They'd discovered the silence's weaknesses. They'd developed weapons that could hurt it. And they'd created a network of defense stations designed to protect inhabited space. "These stations," Dr. Yoon said, studying the schematics. "They're scattered throughout the galaxy. Hundreds of them. But they've been dormant for millions of years. Can we activate them?" "We must," the facility intelligence said. "And more than that, you must build new ones. The silence is larger now than when the architects faced it. You will need more defenses, more weapons, more unity among all species." General Park shook his head. "We can't even get species to cooperate on simple trade agreements. How do we unite them against something most of them don't even believe is real?" "We show them," Hana said. An idea was forming. The facility has recordings from when the architects fought the silence. Real footage of what it does, how it destroys. We broadcast that everywhere. We make sure everyone understands what's coming. Fear might accomplish what diplomacy can't. Fear can also cause panic, President Martinez warned. Or worse, denial. People might give up if they think the threat is too big. Then we balance it, Juan said. Show them the threat, but also show them the solution. Show them the defense stations. Show them species working together. Give them hope along with the warning. Over the next month, they executed the plan. Jiwan's broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy. The footage of the silence was terrifying. Vast machines that moved through space like living darkness. But alongside the fear, they showed possibilities. Species learning to use architect technology. Weapons that could hurt the silence. Defense networks that could protect entire star systems. The response was mixed. Some species panicked. Some refused to believe. But many, many more began to cooperate. Old enemies met at negotiating tables. Trade rivals shared resources. Military forces that had fought each other for generations began training together. The Valorians remained the biggest obstacle. Admiral Kresh had been replaced by High Chancellor Varys, a politician who saw the silence as an opportunity. We can use this, Varys announced in a public statement. The lesser species will need Valorian leadership to survive. We will guide them for a price. Hana watched the statement with disgust. They still don't understand. The architect's technology won't work for them if they're only helping others to gain power. The systems will resist. Then we work around them, Minho said. He'd been coordinating with Valorian dissidents, young officers who disagreed with their government's stance. Not all Valorians support the High Chancellor. Some want to help genuinely. We should give them the chance. It was a controversial decision. Many humans wanted nothing to do with any Valorians after everything their government had done. But Hana remembered what the architects had taught her. Unity meant everyone, even former enemies. She authorized the dissidents to access architect sites. To her surprise and relief, the technology responded to them. They had architect genes just like other species. Their genes were damaged, limited, but still present. With proper training and genuine intent to help, they could contribute to the defense. High Chancellor Varys was furious when he learned his own people were defecting to work with humans and other species. He ordered arrests and executions, but it was too late. The movement had started. Across the Valorian consortium, people began questioning their government's choices. 2 years after Hana first touched the scanner, the first defense station came online. It was in orbit around a dwarf star at the galaxy's edge, positioned to intercept the silence when it arrived. Hana traveled there with a team of engineers and soldiers from 7 different species. They worked together, human and Korath and Talori, and even 3 Valorian dissidents. The station was massive, bigger than most cities, bristling with weapons the architects had designed specifically to fight the silence. Getting it operational required knowledge from multiple species, cooperation and shared expertise. When the station's main reactor ignited, everyone cheered. They'd done something impossible. They'd brought ancient technology back to life through teamwork and determination. This is what the architects wanted, Hana said, watching the station's weapons run through diagnostic tests. Not one species dominating the others. All of us together, stronger than we could ever be alone. Minho stood beside her, older now and decorated with military honors for his work coordinating the defense efforts. Do you think it will be enough? 1 station against something that destroyed the architects? 1 station, no, Hana said. But we're building 40 more, and training thousands of operators, and developing new weapons based on architect designs but improved with our own innovations. The architects were just 1 species. We're dozens of species, all bringing different perspectives and ideas. That has to count for something. Jawan's voice came through the communication system. Hana, you need to see this. We're detecting something at the edge of sensor range. The display changed, showing deep space. At first, Hana saw nothing. Then she noticed it. A star that had been bright in the previous scan was gone. Just gone. Consumed the silence, General Park said grimly. It's here. 13 years early, fear rippled through the station. People looked at each other with panic in their eyes. They weren't ready. They'd hoped for more time. But Hana felt the facility intelligence speaking to her, steady and sure. You are ready enough. The architects were alone when they faced this. You are not alone,